11.
Easily the most selfless and dramatic moment in Vegeta's life. And it amounts to absolutely nothing!
Well, I mean, it doesn't kill Boo, but it does bring Vegeta's character arc to a close.
And he gets a neat statue of himself. Bulma can put it out in the living room, scare burglars away, grind against it, weird freaky sh**.
I don't get it. How do you turn to stone after you blow yourself up?
Anime.
This moment truly is a classic, even if it's undercut by doing effectively nothing to defeat the villain.
It's his acknowledgement that he has truly grown to care for this world and the people around him. It's a beautiful, powerful moment.
That doesn't necessarily make up for the numerous times he's f***ed everyone over.
Oh, come on. The guy nearly brings about the end of the earth 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and somehow he's a villain.
Good night, sweet prince, and flights of Cell Jr. sing thee to thy rest.
10.
Hey look, Vegeta's not blowing himself up this time.
This time, he's blowing someone else up in what is probably one of his most, if not the most, badass moment in the show.
It sort of feels like a return to form for him. You know, until Android 18.
Between some classic quotes and utter domination of Android 19, this scene is the perfect way to reintroduce the Prince of All Saiyans.
Also, this is the first fight we see where Vegeta actually defeats an opponent that Goku couldn't handle himself.
What? How does that count? He was having a heart attack.
Shut up! Taking this!
The prince is back, baby. With a bang.
Yeah, okay, that's acceptable.
9.
All right, Kaiser, go ahead.
I love the scene. It's my favorite.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot to love. Freeza has miraculously returned, stronger than ever, and he's on planet Earth seeking revenge.
With the Z-Warriors all paling in comparison to Frieza's power and Goku nowhere to be found, their only savior is this mysterious
Trunks, who shows up by dicing all of Frieza's men, turning into the second Super Saiyan of the entire series, takes his most devastating attack head-on, and then proceeds to butcher Frieza and eliminate his short-lived father, whilst accompanied by a special, albeit plagiarized, piece of music and everything.
Speaking of King Cold, he does kind of just show up to die, doesn't he?
It's actually a pretty good fake-out. You think this arc might be about Frieza's revenge, but nope. Time-traveling robots.
Cyborgs, to be exact.
Nobody cares.
Jinzoganan, Jinzo-Negan, Jinzu-Ningen. Oh, f*** it.
8.
A Christmas miracle, or so they say, and Piccolo's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And then instantly imploded due to Nappa's attack.
Piccolo's sacrifice here is the perfect cap to his character arc, which we see begin with his training of Gohan.
It's also a huge dramatic moment because this is, once again, the end of the Dragon Balls, as far as we knew anyway.
Between its beautiful animation and huge impact, this moment may be Piccolo's best.
It's also one of the first scenes that comes to mind when you think of the Saiyan arc.
Thank you, Big Green. You'll always live on in our hearts.
And when they wish you back on Namek.
7.
We don't even need to include the entire fight here. This one shot, standing across from each other, it's one of the most iconic shots of the two rivals in this entire series.
It's the calm before a wicked storm, leading up to the classic beam struggle. Oh shit. Is that on the list? Guys, yeah, we're gonna include the beam struggle here.
It also sets a precedence, for better or worse, of how future battles would play out. High-level attacks, advanced aerial fighting, beam battles,
endless banter,
screaming.
So much screaming!
It all kind of started here, with one of the most epic stare-downs known to anime.
6.
Krillin down! Krillin down!
It's the first time in the series that a main character dies.
And certainly not the last for Krillin.
It's also the first time we see Goku in a pure rage. He cuts contact with everybody, and then goes on a rampage of revenge, nearly losing his own life in the process. Rampage!
It's a somber, grim moment that sets the tone for the rest of the season. Death is a big part of this arc, and Krillin starts a domino effect that leads to the biggest, most dramatic season of the series thus far.
Also, Tambourine done kicked in his frontal lobe. That's gotta suck.
Boot to the head!
Ah, why?
5.
Top 5, folks!
And it's another villain death.
And another Kamehameha.
This scene means a lot to the series. It's the death of Cell.
It's Gohan coming into his own.
And it's Goku finally passing the torch to his son. Until the next arc where he promptly takes it back.
It's a stunning scene, where Gohan is quickly running dry on power, and Cell is just not giving him an inch.
It takes a combined effort of everyone involved to even get him to flinch, but it's actually Vegeta that ends up finally saving the day. Woo! GG!
Also, the imagery here is some of the best. The father-son Kamehameha, Gohan walking slowly with one hand raised, Cell's obliteration.
It's a fantastic climax to an unforgettable arc.
4,
Or as I like to call it, boy meets car.
It's not just the introduction to the show and Goku, it's also the introduction to his longtime co-star, endearing main character, Vegeta's eventual baby mama, Bulma.
You know, it's kind of crazy that this all starts off with a simple accident.
She shoots him in the head.
Yeah, but she's a teenage girl and he totaled her car. Ask me, he got off kind of light.
It's actually a fascinating and kind of adorable scene that really gives you everything you need to know about Goku. A simple-minded, crude, but well-meaning boy with super strength.
And a tail.
It also gives you everything you need to know about Bulma. A smart, independent young woman.
Who, incidentally, wants the Dragon Ball so she can wish for a lifetime supply of strawberries, but then amends that to wanting the perfect boyfriend.
Let's look at her dating record here for a sec. Yamcha and Vegeta.
Really could have used that wish.
Everything started here, as many things do, with one boy and one girl.
3,
Oh, Cell done f***ed up.
Who knew that the turning point of this arc would come down to Android 16 and Mr. Satan?
Well, also Gohan, but good legwork on the part of Satan.
Who would have guessed he was a team player the whole time?
This really turns out to be one of the biggest, most dramatic transformations in the series.
Accompanied by a haunting song, striking visuals, and one of the most dramatic power-ups the series has ever presented.
It's truly remarkable.
It's also something that the series has been building up to since the very beginning. All those moments of Gohan going berserk, and it all comes to a head here, in this chilling moment.
Gohan, the child of prophecy. And poor Goten never really stood a chance.
He had Gotenks.
Easily one of the most beautifully done transformations in the entire franchise, and the culmination of the character. This rightfully takes its spot at number 3.
2,
Now this one might seem anticlimactic for some, but it's where it is on the list because it means a lot to the series.
Imagine watching all 153 episodes of Dragon Ball, following the adventures of a mystical monkey boy as he grows into a man.
Only to find out that he's an alien. And he's got a brother. And his brother is here to wipe out humanity.
While elements of science fiction were never a stranger to the Dragon Ball world, what with Capsule Corp, Red Ribbon's original androids, etc., this moment really turns the world as you know it on its head.
All of a sudden, the entire galaxy is opened up for Goku and the gang to adventure their way through.
And not in that fakakta GT way either.
To those who started with Z, it might not seem like much, but its effect on the series as a whole is unprecedented.
And speaking of events that would change the series...
number 1.
But first, here are some honorable mentions.
Don't you judge us.
You knew this was going to be here. It had to be here.
Those blonde spikes are on every other piece of Dragon Ball merchandise ever made. And this scene started it all.
Not to mention the long chain of Super Saiyan transformations to come after that.
Before becoming a Super Saiyan became every Saiyan's birthright, this moment shows us not only the realization of the Super Saiyan prophecy mentioned throughout the arc, but it's also the first real transformation Goku has ever undergone. I mean, besides Ozaru.
And all because Krillin died again. Way to go, little guy.
This is a moment that everyone remembers. Hell, our most viewed episode of all time, by millions, starts with this scene.
When most people think of Dragon Ball, it's often not the magical adventures trying to find the Dragon Balls or the impressive exhibition of strength and cunning at the World Martial Arts tournaments.
As awesome as that stuff is, It's the lone warrior standing up against the merciless villain in his most dire moment that most people think of.
And this scene truly captures that in one desperate, dramatic climax. Before there was a Super Saiyan for every day of the week.
So while this might not be the moment that comes to mind when you think of Dragon Ball,
it's impossible to ignore the impact this scene left on the series, and what it meant for all of its characters.
Thank you for joining us this month as we looked back on what we love and remember about one of our favorite series. We hope some of your most iconic moments made the list.
but if it didn't, go ahead and leave a comment below and share them with us.
And for now, sayonara, and have a happy DBZember.